There are writers who tell stories and then there are writers who tell the truth. Dostoyevsky, he does both, but not in the traditional sense of doing it. He makes you question everything about yourself, about who you are. This man didn't write from imagination alone. His life was a mess. He stood before a firing squad, seconds away from death. He spent years in Siberian prisons with prisoners, actual prisoners. He was drowning in debt, lost his loved ones, had epileptic seizures that left him helpless in life, and out of all this suffering, he created something that no writer has, an understanding of what it means to be a human. Take one of his most famous works, Crime and Punishment. A man commits a murder, as the title suggests, crime and punishment, and this crime wasn't committed because of rage, it wasn't committed because of hatred, it was purely committed because he justified it to himself, to his rational mind. And at first it makes sense. But then Dostoevsky does what only he can. He takes you inside the man's mind. You don't just watch Raskolnikov suffer, you feel it. You see how logic can justify anything. But guilt is something you can't argue with. Dostoevsky's obsession was free will. He believed people wanted it, but at the same time were terrified of it. Because freedom means responsibility, and most would rather hand over that burden to an ideology, a system, a religion, a belief, anything that tells them what to do. In The Grand Inquisitor, he basically says, and I quote, "Do you actually want to be free, or do you just want to believe that you are?" That question hasn't stopped haunting humans ever since Dostoevsky's asked. And then there's his view on good and evil. He didn't see them as separate forces. Dostoevsky doesn't believe that someone is inherently evil and someone is purely good. We justify, we struggle, and to a rational mind we portray it as saying this is good and this is bad. And that is what Dostoevsky does, make you question why you think this is good and this is bad. But here's the thing, Dostoevsky doesn't give answers. He makes you question. He'll just throw you into the mind of the protagonist of the story of the novel you're reading, and he'll let you figure it out yourself. And that is the reason why you should read Dostoevsky. He's not going to give you answers. That's one thing. He tells you the plot of the story in the very beginning. He deciphers everything in the beginning. But the one thing that he does differently than any other person is makes you question your own self, your own morality. And that is the reason why I think you should read Dostoevsky.